Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the brand new Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the Movie, 1986, Megatron. And finally, I literally would have waited an eternity for this. I am so glad I finally found this Megatron at Target. Unfortunately, I did pay the full $60, and honestly, this thing should not be priced $60. But anyways, this figure is really amazing. So without further ado, let's get started. Here we have the figure inside the package, and wow, the figure looks really cool. There's obviously a lot of empty space in the packaging, but the figure looks really cool. We get some nice artwork of Megatron in robot and tank form. Right here we get Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the Movie, a nice image of Megatron, the same one we saw in the front. Right here we get a nice product shots of Megatron in robot form, tank mode, wielding his gun and ready to store his accessories. His little bio says, Megatron and the Decepticons prepare to mount a surprise attack on Autobot City. Looks really cool. And right here, this side of the packaging continues on right here with his fist clenched, and this looks really nice. Transformers the Movie, Megatron, and here's the barcode if you want to scan it. So with that being said and done, now let's take the figure out of the packaging. Here we have Megatron out of the packaging, and this figure looks so good. It looks really nice. It looks like he just jumped out of the cartoon. It looks fantastic. This figure looks amazing. I really do like this figure for one of two reasons. One, there's no back cable and there's not that much tank pieces that are visible. Two, the figure is so sleek and animation accurate and scales perfectly nice with the other figures. And three, I am so glad to finally have a G1 Megatron in my collection. Now, just taking a look at the details on this figure. This figure first off has his Decepticon insignia, very classic, with some silver around it as well. The classic Darth Vader-esque chest piece right here with the little dots and the little squares looks really nice. Animation accurate. He does have the little red on the arms, which looks really nice, as well as the torso. He does have a lot of details running through the arms, the legs, the shins, and throughout the entire body itself. This figure is jam-packed with a bunch of details, has a few ports for blast effects or for accessories to be stored, so you could have that as well. And this figure's head sculpt looks really nice. You get that nice bushy eyebrow with the bright red eyes, and the head sculpt and the face sculpt look really good. Just taking you a closer look at this, you can see how good this figure's head sculpt looks, and it looks really nice. And I really do like all the angles that you can get this guy in too. So overall, yeah, the robot mode for Megatron is really nice. And I do like the gray that we get here. It breaks out all of this primary gray. I do like this darker bluish gray that we do get. I know a lot of people were complaining that why is Megatron's legs blue? They should be black, they should be gray. No, just leave them how it is. It looks nice in this gray color scheme, and it looks really cool, and it contrasts the figure's color overall. It looks really cool. So starting off the accessories, this figure has quite a few accessories. Let's first start off with the fusion cannon. The fusion cannon looks really cool. It's sculpted really nice. I feel like the fusion cannon is very accurate and looks very like how it did in the G1 show. And unfortunately, one little thing about this fusion cannon is it is blast effect compatible, but only with the skinny blast effects such as these ones. So you can't really have Megatron with a big blast effect. You could only put the little ones into the fusion cannon, which is quite unfortunate. Then we have this little barrel piece that attaches on Megatron's back, or you could attach it on the fusion cannon itself. But overall, yeah, you have this little barrel piece as well. It looks really cool. Then you have Megatron's classic sword that he does use to attack Optimus Prime in the film. It looks really nice, and I do like the metallic purplish pink magenta we get, and the regular purple here with the gray here molded. And then finally, we do have Megatron transforms into his little gun form, which obviously due to licensing issues and legal issues, they obviously can't have Megatron turn into a gun for the toy, but I'm so glad they included this tiny little version of him for Starscream to wield or any other Decepticon to wield. So yeah, that's pretty much accessories. Now back to the figure. This figure's articulation is very outstanding. I really do like this articulation. For starters, on the head is on a ball joint, so you can look up, down, tilt side to side, do a full 360. His little cannon right here at the port can move around, but that really doesn't count. He has waist articulation, which is lovely. He has arm articulation. He has a butterfly joint at the arm. He has a hinge joint at the entire arm. Swivel, and a hinge joint at the arm as well. A swivel at the arm. A swivel at the bicep, so you can move all around. Past 90 at the arm. Has a ball joint on the hand, so you can move it all around. He also does have tiny little articulation on the figures. You can't really see it. Let me just try to focus it, you can kind of see it. It has 2 points of articulation, one for the entire finger and one for the top part of the index finger, and that applies for all of the fingers as well. He also does have leg articulation, so you can go up this far, back this far, and do the splits. He does have a 90-degree bend at the knee, little past it as well. He does have a foot pivot and rocker, I think. He also does have a frontwards toe pivot or backwards toe pivot, I'm not so sure, but he can move his foot like this. But overall, this figure has a lot of articulation so far. Comparison time. So first up for the comparisons, first let's bring in Megatronus and Galvatron. And I brought in these two because a lot of people did think that Megatron, before he got released, was going to turn into the same mold as Megatronus, but obviously, as we can see, they're entirely two different molds, and I'm really glad they did that, as I don't think Megatron would have fit this mold that well. He would have been a little too big, but overall, I do like the Megatronus mold compared to Megatron. As we can see, they look very similar because Megatron was the inspiration for Megatronus after all, so yeah, we have that. And then now we have Galvatron. And personally, Galvatron being an upgrade to Megatron feels more of a downgrade. This figure is kind of old. The new mold itself is the same thing, so I'm not so sure why Hasbro couldn't have done anything new with the Studio Series release, as the figure is just boring, whereas this Megatron figure is so much better. So honestly, it's just between a pick or choose between which two versions of this character you like. I personally like Megatron, but Galvatron is just a boring figure in comparison to Megatron. Here you have him compared next to Optimus Prime, and Optimus Prime to Megatron. This scale is completely accurate. This scale is perfect to how they both appear in the G1 cartoon as well as the movie. I really do like the scale, and I'm so glad to have both of these in the collection, both leaders in the collection. And this figure is really, really cool compared next to Optimus Prime. I really hope to get more of the G1 characters to complete my collection. But overall, yeah, this is how both of them scale. The me eye to eye, chest to chest, knee to knee, everything is the same in terms of scale with these two figures. Here we have the Studio Series Coronation Starscream, and Starscream in comparison to Megatron, Megatron is obviously bigger than Starscream, but with the new molds of Thundercracker, Starscream, Skywarp coming soon next year, I'm pretty sure the new molds will be probably bigger to match the scale of Megatron. And honestly, I personally do like this mold, but it's time for a new mold, and I'm really excited for that as well. But that's the overall scale between the old Earthrise mold with the new Studio Series Megatron. Same could also be said here with our Legacy Soundwave / War for Cybertron mold. Here we have Blitzwing, and Blitzwing having a lot of engineering similar to Megatron. I am really surprised of how small Blitzwing is. I feel like Blitzwing should be a tiny bit taller, but it's not that much to worry about, as both of these look really cool. Here we have Megatron next to Hot Rod, and I really do like the scale, as it does show how tall Megatron is in comparison to Hot Rod, and you could really recreate that scene where Megatron grabs Hot Rod as he shoots at Optimus Prime. And here you have 86 Jazz and 86 Bumblebee. Here's Megatron with the Constructicons, and here we have the Bumblebee movie Megatron. And that Megatron to our new G1 Megatron is a perfect translation from G1 to live action. We can see that both of these figures look similar enough, and honestly, all of those Bumblebee movie characters were all G1 translations into live action perfectly, so I feel like this one is just as perfect as the rest. And finally, here's the Autobot crew that died on the ship. Now for Megatron's transformation, it's simple yet complex, so sit back, relax, grab your Megatron figure, and follow along. Megatron fully transformed into his tank mode. And his tank mode has to be one of his coolest modes that I've seen. Although his tank mode obviously didn't appear in the film, but just this concept of Megatron transforming into this tank looks really amazing. His tank mode does remind me of the Devastation version of Megatron, which did transform into a tank, and honestly I could see them using this mold, or a smaller version of this mold, for a Transformers Devastation Studio Series figure. But this figure looks really great. His weapon storage is really nice. He just stores on either the ports on the top or the ports on the side, whichever one you would want. I do like the inclusion of the back barrel becomes part of the cannon. Looks really cool. I really do like that this is also blast effect compatible, so you can have Megatron blasting through the Autobots. And honestly, it looks really cool. And I really do like the Decepticon insignia. Also does stand out a little bit with the silver. For the camera to focus, you can see it focuses right there, and you can see it stands out really nicely. And overall, I really do like this. The only thing I don't like is this piece. When this piece rotates, it's not really on center, and it just looks kind of weird. But other than that, I feel like the tank mode for Megatron looks really cool. Comparing him next to Blitzwing, the Legacy Blitzwing, I feel like both of these are both tanks, and I feel like this scale would be pretty good, as they are both tanks, both leader classes, and this is just to give you a sense of scale on how big Megatron is once you get this figure. So, some final thoughts for the Transformers Studio Series 86 Megatron. This figure is without a doubt one of the best Studio Series figures Hasbro has produced. This figure is so amazing. The transformation is complex yet simplistic. I really do like how this figure scales with other figures. He just looks like a tyrant. This figure looks amazing. He looks so good compared next to Optimus Prime and many other G1 characters. This guy's paint is so nice. You could even see it on the Decepticon insignia. And honestly, this figure mostly being gray, I feel like they've done a really good job in the different shades of gray this figure has. And I really do like the legs at the bottom being a dark blue, dark gray color, stands out. And I really do like the articulation this figure has. Articulation is what stands out the most in this figure, as this figure has hand articulation, waist articulation, finger articulation, has a lot of head movement, and has a lot of leg movement as well. This figure's articulation is done properly. Now, the only critiques I do have of this figure would be his accessories. I really wish he would have had more accessories. For example, I really wish he would have had not just his little gun and the sword and the cannon. I really wish he would have included the mace and maybe an Energon cube, or maybe any other accessory they could think of to add to Megatron, because honestly, this figure feels lacking. The fusion cannon doesn't really count as an accessory, as that's really part of Megatron, but basically he only came with 2 accessories after that, that being his sword and his little gun mode. Now honestly, I personally think for $60, I really don't feel like this figure was really worth that much. I feel like at most this figure should be worth $50. But just to justify the price point, I feel like they should have added maybe 1 or 2 more accessories, and then the price point would have been slightly justified, but other than that, it looks really cool. Now, as far as the rating of this figure, I'd give this figure a solid 10 out of 10. This figure is so good. Similar to Optimus Prime, they are both 10 out of 10 figures, and they've been done so right by Hasbro. So that about concludes my video on the Studio Series Megatron. Tell me what you thought of this figure. Do you have him? Are you going to pick him up? Have you picked him up? Or are you planning to? Tell me in the comment section down below. And in the words of Optimus Prime, transform and roll out.